7 Nightly News.
Priceless antiques, historic paintings and artefacts were destroyed in the blaze, which has left the residents of the artists' colony in a state of shock. Fire crews arrived shortly after 4 this morning to find the main barn ablaze and 2 adjoining buildings well alight.
It was totally involved in fire, and as far as saving anything within the building, it would have been hopeless anyway. It was purely a stand back and try and contain it.
The flames were just curling and going up and up and up and up. There's nothing you can do, just an inferno. Just total inferno.
More than 60 firefighters from both Metro and Country brigades were called in to fight the blaze, which took nearly an hour to contain. The burnt-out barn was on the Historic Buildings Register and was nearly 100 years old. It was home to a 25-metre-long wooden keelboat, which was only a couple of months from being launched. Just one of dozens of priceless items lost when the barn was engulfed.
Yes, it had antiques and bric-a-brac and whole heaps of stuff. A whole collection of antique gilded frames, they've all gone.
Mr. Jorgensen's 82-year-old mother, Helen Skipper, managed to escape her burning house directly behind the barn. Firefighters searched the cottage, believing she was still inside.
If she had been there, it's really hard to say, but I would say her chances would have been slim.
Fire investigators say there's little doubt the early morning blaze was deliberately lit. They believe arsonists had earlier attempted to set fire to a toilet block near the settlement's Great Hall. A rubbish bin piled with paper was set alight inside the male toilets, but never took hold. Montsalvat residents have also reported hearing a car revving as it drove out of the main car park just before 2:30 this morning.
Well, we're obviously devastated by it and absolutely distraught that to think that if it was arson, that people would do this silly thing of burning out this beautiful building.
Peter Morris, 10 News.
Blaze, which destroyed an historic building at the Montsalvat Artists Colony. As Nick Coe reports, a rare boat from World War II and a barn were lost.
50 firefighters were called to the blaze just after 4 o'clock and took almost an hour to bring it under control. A shortage of water meant they had to rely on a nearby dam for supplies.
It was a matter of containing it to the barn, and they were able to do that and save the residents around the back.
Destroyed was an 18-metre boat, built in the 1940s and due to be relaunched as a floating gallery. The artist's workshop, studio and joinery also lay in ruins.
The workshop was full of wood and it went up in a flash.
Firemen say the actions of a local resident in rescuing an 82-year-old woman from her home probably saved her life. Mr. Jurgensen's mother, Helen Skipper, was pulled from her home behind the barn. Felix Hakens was one of the first on the scene, trying to fight the blaze with a garden hose.
And that wall just exploded right in front of me. And then I ran around the back here and saw what had happened. A gas cylinder and hit the wall. And the fireman just told me to get out of the way there.
Braving intense heat, some of the 20 permanent residents managed to save several items of antique furniture. Witnesses say a car was heard speeding from the barn shortly before the blaze was reported.
It's somewhat bewildering to me how a fire would have started in that building, as I know the power was turned off.
The arson squad is investigating. Nick Coe, National 9 News.
The police paintings and a priceless World War II relic have been destroyed. Emma Power has the story.
50 firefighters converged on Montsalvat shortly after 4 o'clock. 20-metre flames engulfing a barn and art studio. Elderly residents were evacuated. Young artists desperately battled to douse flames. 17-year-old Felix Hakens ran through fire to find a hose.
And then the wall fell down right in front of me and I jumped right out of there.
Artworks, antiques, tools and furniture were destroyed. The biggest loss, a precious World War II wooden trawler being restored by builder Hamish Knox.
It was a horrible sight to watch all those wonderful dreams and that lovely building going up in smoke.
We could save the residents, but everything else was just too far gone.
Arson squad detectives have sealed off the area. It's believed the blaze was deliberately lit. Toilet blocks also vandalised and attempts to set them alight. An unidentified car was spotted illegally entering the car park shortly before the inferno. Fire officers have yet to finalise a damage bill, but resident artists say the losses are priceless and irreplaceable.
My own easels and easels that I teach with, and still life and subject matter that I've collected over a period of my life. A lot of memories, say.
Emma Power, 7 Nightly News.